Hello, it seems like some weeks since I last did a YouTube video, and as I'm recording this, it's the beginning of February. I think this will probably go out in March. I'm inclined to film a few of these at once and then spend the winter evenings editing and adding to them and doing the production. Today I'm going to talk about a Canon compact camera, and this was one I bought not too long ago, and it's a Canon AF7. In the States, this is known as an owl. I could talk for ages about English camera called an owl, but that's another story, and it would be it's a very rare camera. But this owl, which was commonly called the AF7 in the European market, and it was a compact camera with an enormous viewfinder. I remember actually when I was first teaching A-level photography, we bought a whole lot of these cameras as a sort of first camera to use, and a camera to get the student used to loading film and using film and being able to develop film. It's a super camera from the larger viewfinder point of view, and the viewfinder is really nice and bright. They came out in about 1992. I remember buying them in 92, and to open, well, we start from the beginning. Off has the lens shutter cover closed, and as soon as we put it onto auto, nice green auto, very similar to the auto we see on the single lens reflex cameras, and a similar design there. So green to open it. To load the film, and just check I haven't got a film in here. Really nice easy loading of the film there. Film it in here, across here, into the orange red leader here. Close the camera and it will wind on immediately. Counter on the top, nice 35mm lens, so it's a relatively wide angle lens. Remember, the standard lens for a 35mm camera was always thought to be a 50mm, and a 35mm is ideal for landscapes and for parties and for more general use. And there was a whole range of compact cameras produced in the 90s that all had 35mm lenses on. Going back to the controls, off, green, a flash, a no flash, and a self timer. So very basic functions, but useful functions. Going back to the lens, it's a triplet lens, so that's a very standard, relatively good quality lens. Standard, so that is a triplet fixed lens, so 35 fixed focal length, so not a zoom lens, as I explained. It has, I think, shutter speeds from, I think it's 1/40th up to about 1/80th, and it chooses those automatically, and apparently minimum f-stop of f11. I believe it only has 3 ranges of focus. You can hear the focus working when I half press it. Once you have used your film, it will rewind the entire film back. If we wanted to change mid-roll or to get a roll out of the camera, we can press the rewind at the top here using that button, little press here, and at the top like that. That is basically it. I took it out recently, well, last Sunday. Let's see how I got on with it. The first image I took was in Shaftesbury, and I was doing a vintage fair in the town hall. So this is from the actual hall looking down the street, and it was absolutely fine. You can see the bounce of the flash, and you can just about glimpse in the background the actual lovely Golden Hill, which I will look at in a moment. This was inside the hall, so this is using flash. And what I did find about the camera was the automatic focus does work, and I explained how it is in 3 elements, and I did find three elements are rather limiting. So you can see the photograph has worked here, and it's relatively in focus, and there's relatively enough detail, but there is some limitation in this focusing of the flash I found, which was okay. But as we see, the second photograph here, which is of an iconic view of Dorset, this is known as Golden Hill, and many years ago it was on a Brad advert in the 1970s, and the background music was the New World Symphony, and everyone thought this street was in Yorkshire because it had a Yorkshire voice to it. It was actually for Hovis bread, but it is actually what we call Gold Hill in Dorset. It's a lovely viewpoint, as you can see, and the camera is performing absolutely fine here. It is sharp, but I felt it could be a little bit sharper. But when I remembered back on the camera I used years ago, the same camera, I had the same issue. This again is the High Street. Again, it's absolutely passable on sharpness, but I was just slightly disappointed. But it's practical, it's usable. The exposure I found was to be very good. It's a very easy camera to use, and it's great for street photography because of course you've got this moderately wide angle lens. The only trouble with a wide angle lens, this is Sherborne Abbey, Sherborne in Dorset, and the 35mm lens can distort a little bit, but at least it gets in the whole building, so in one sense that is absolutely fine. These are almshouses right by the Abbey in Sherborne, and they date back to, I think, 1550, so they really are very ancient houses. There was a story that Sir Walter Raleigh used to be chairman of the committee or something. There's some story about Walter Raleigh, but the photo is fine. It was an extremely dull day. This is a little shed in my mum's back garden. I was visiting her and wanted to test this camera, and again the contrast is absolutely fine, the photo is fine. It was not the sun was out at this particular bright spot, but not the best of days. I then went along to Wareham, and this is the quay, and again the sharpness is passable and the exposure is passable. This was late on a Sunday afternoon in January. The camera performed absolutely fine. As a point and shoot, this camera is good. It works incredibly easily. The viewfinder is great, and it's a camera that you probably wouldn't worry about too much. Might not be my top list of cameras, but it was absolutely fine. Thank you for watching again, and bye for now.